The clowning was relaxation for me. I enjoyed entertaining kids. Like some people are, they unwind in different ways.
Some stories were never meant to be found. This is where we uncover crimes, disappearances, and the creepiest mysteries hidden online.
Ged Code Diaries.
Dark Side. The Case of John Wayne Gacy. In the quiet suburban streets outside Chicago, a man once lived a life that, on the surface, seemed ordinary. He was a businessman, a neighbor, a community volunteer. But behind that carefully maintained image was one of the most horrifying secrets in American criminal history. This is the story of John Wayne Gacy.
We would visit different hospitals and entertain the children there. And we didn't entertain them with handcuffs or anything like that. All we used was balloon animals and small toys and stuff like that. But we also did parades. And in the summertime, like on 4th of July, I used to be in 4 parades in one day. I've always told people when I got into clown makeup, I regressed into childhood. It was fun being a clown because you could be yourself or just let yourself go and act a fool. You could be slapstick and funny and have a good time. That's why I always enjoyed clowning. Clowning has taken a bad name.
John Wayne Gacy was born in 1942 in Chicago. His childhood, by many accounts, was troubled. He had a difficult relationship with his father, who was reportedly abusive and often belittled him. Gacy struggled with his identity, his self-worth, and his need for approval. As he grew older, he tried to build a respectable life, working various jobs and eventually becoming involved in local politics and business. But even in his early adulthood, there were warning signs. In 1968, Gacy was convicted of sexually assaulting a teenage boy in Waterloo. He was sentenced to prison, but served only about 18 months before being released. After his release, he returned to the Chicago area and began rebuilding his life once again. By the early 1970s, Gacy had established himself as a successful contractor. He ran a construction business and often hired young men and teenagers for work. He became active in his community, hosting parties, socializing with neighbors, and even performing at events as Pogo the Clown. To those around him, Gacy seemed friendly, generous, even likable. But behind that public persona masked something far more sinister. The disappearances began. Between 1972 and 1978, young men and teenage boys began disappearing in and around Chicago. Many of them had one thing in common. They were last seen near places connected to Gacy. Some had been offered work. Others had simply crossed paths with him. At the time, these disappearances were not immediately linked, but a pattern was forming. Gacy's method was chillingly calculated. He would lure victims into his home, often under the pretense of offering a job or assistance. Once inside, he would gain their trust before initiating what he called the handcuff trick. He would demonstrate how to escape from handcuffs, but once the victim was restrained, the situation would change completely. From there, the victims were overpowered and murdered. Gacy later confessed that he buried many of them in the crawl space beneath his house, a dark, confined area that would become central to the investigation. The turning point with Robert Piest. The case finally began to unravel in December 1978 when a 15-year-old boy named Robert Peast went missing. He had told his mother he was going to speak with a contractor about a job opportunity. That contractor was Gacy. When Peast didn't return home, police launched an investigation that quickly led to Gacy. At first, Gacy appeared cooperative, but detectives noticed inconsistencies in his statements, and something else caught their attention: a strange, unmistakable odor coming from his house. Police placed Gacy under surveillance while gathering evidence. Eventually, they obtained a search warrant. What they found inside the house was disturbing, but it was only the beginning. Further investigation led them to the crawl space beneath the home. There, they discovered human remains. As more searches were conducted, the full extent of the crimes became clear. In total, 33 victims were linked to Gacy. Most were buried beneath his house. Others were disposed of in nearby rivers, including the Des Plaines River. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Gacy was arrested. During interrogation, he eventually confessed to multiple murders. At times, he attempted to shift blame, claiming that alternate personalities were responsible, but investigators found no evidence supporting this. The pattern was clear. The crimes were deliberate, repeated, and methodical. The trial. In 1980, Gacy stood trial. His defense team argued that he was legally insane, attempting to avoid responsibility for his actions. But the prosecution presented a detailed and compelling case, showing that Gacy had full awareness of what he was doing. The jury deliberated for a short time before reaching a verdict. Gacy was found guilty on multiple counts of murder. He was sentenced to death. After spending more than a decade on death row, John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection in 1994. But the impact of his crimes didn't end there. The case forced law enforcement to re-examine how missing persons cases were handled. It exposed how easily a predator could hide behind a facade of normal life. And it left behind a chilling legacy that continues to haunt true crime history. The story of John Wayne Gacy is not just about the crimes themselves. It's about deception, about how appearances can hide unimaginable darkness. Because perhaps the most terrifying part of this case is not just what he did, but how convincingly he lived among others without anyone truly seeing who he was.
The clowning was relaxation for me. I enjoyed entertaining kids. Like some people are, they unwind in different ways, either we're going out drinking or that. I could put on clown makeup and I was relaxed. And I enjoyed doing it.